House fam, what's happening? It's Her Mix a Lot, co-founder and executive director of Femme House. You were back with me for Femme House Radio, Pass the Mic edition, where we amplify the voices of the marginalized, BIPOC, queer folks, the littest of the community, if you ask me. Today I am here with THEYTEE, a Black, Indigenous, queer, two-spirit DJ from Los Angeles, as am I, hometown gang gang.
Yes.
Growing up, they were heavily influenced by their brother and sister raving in the late 90s, and their work in harm reduction in the dance music community, and commitment to self-expression and freedom on the dance floor is very inspiring to us. We are very, very glad to have them here. THEYTEE, welcome, boo.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
We're excited to have you. Thanks for taking the time.
Yes, of course. Happy to be here.
So tell me, one of my favorite things to talk about is like what I see as like the renaissance of the LA dance music scene, specifically for Black queers. Tell me about your place in that and how you found your people in this new age where it seems like there's more spaces for us than ever before.
Yes, I feel like there's so many different like sectors within LA, especially for Black queer DJs. One event specifically that's been like really big for me and something that I've been making sure to go to is They House. It's put on by two friends. I just DJ'd it. I'm like, I think that was last week, maybe the week before, maybe our
Time
weeks
is a
get
flat
jumbled.
circle. Yeah.
Yes, by one of my friends, Terrell. He throws so many different events, and they're all queer and BIPOC focused. And They House was really, really special. And I'm glad I'm in that community, surrounded by other Black artists, and I feel really uplifted and supported within those spaces.
How do you
With
find those
LA,
spaces?
right? Attending events and meeting people, and then just like making connections with people. I started out as a dancer, so being on the dance floor, dancing, house dancing, you attract people to you. I think we froze.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I think
We
that
did
I've
freeze.
met.
You spoke it into existence, but that happens
Okay.
sometimes.
I I love that. I think with dancing, you kind of attract people that are also into that. So I that's definitely been my way to form community is by house dancing.
That's awesome. What would be like your recommendation to folks sort of just like entering the scene wherever they're at as Black queer people, and finding spaces and like demanding sort of like access to those spaces and building community, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I would say take up space. I feel like oftentimes we feel like we're not allowed to take up space or we're not allowed into a certain event because it's not BIPOC focused, and I like to take up space with my Black friends in those spaces. Um, and always like share your voice even when you're scared, and especially on the dance floor when people just stand there. But just keep looking for your community because you will find your community. Um, I think it took me a long time. I'm 33 going on 34, and I don't think I found my community until the last maybe 5 years. So it takes
Mm,
time, but be persistent and don't give up because your community is out there.
that's very, very salient, wise wisdom that you shared with us. Tell the folks about your work in harm reduction in the dance music space, and even if you could start with an explanation of that, for folks
Yeah.
that are listening and probably have never even conceptualized it until hearing me talk to you right now.
Yeah, so harm reduction is just a way to safely party. If you partake in any party favors, even in drinking, um, just being moderate about it, making sure you have a safe person to go to if you feel like you might be spiraling a bit. um, Harm reduction started for me. I struggled with addiction for a long time and got sober from certain things and was losing a lot of friends to overdoses. So I wanted to be able to change that on the dance floor because I saw that people weren't taking care of one another. Um, so I just like reached out to a party one day and was just like, we need harm reduction at this party. A lot of people partake in things and they're not doing it safely. So I kind of got started by my own experience and by losing a lot of friends and wanting to make the dance floor an actual safe space for all of us.
That's such an important bit of work that you do because I mean, I think that we often forget that we are partying, right? And there are ways to do that and still remain in intentional community with one another and thoughtful community with one
Yes.
another and
Yes.
take care of one another and uplift one another and keep each other safe. And it's not so much like a concept but a practice, right? Like it's all of our
Yes.
responsibilities as citizens of the dance floor to come together in
Yes.
true community. That's why, that's why house music started. That's why disco started, to create actual intentional safe spaces that don't just involve expression but protection from the
Yes.
outside world and our inner world. So that's really cool. Thank you for doing that work. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And that's something that you said like is really big to me is just like intentionality. It's just like being intentional with what you're doing in community with each other and like making sure to protect one another when we're all out together. It's yeah, it's just important and I have a big heart, so I always want to make sure everyone's doing okay. I'm always like the parent of the group like you good? You good?
Sure. Tell me about your journey into DJing. I know you were heavily influenced by watching what sounds like a really cool older brother and sister. But tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about your origin story. Like, what's your superhero story? How'd you get from there to here?
Yeah. My brother and sister started raving in the late 90s. So I was always in the house with house music, techno, drum and bass. Like it was just always either my brother was playing anything from Prodigy to drum and bass or just like all types of music all the time. And then my sister was very into DJ Irene, the very like hard house LA scene, the arena
Yeah.
back in the day. um, so I got to see their lived experience. And then my sister used to like practice dancing, like their dance moves outside. And so I was always like interested in that because I grew up dancing. And then from there, just I found like the sounds that I like Detroit techno, Chicago house. Um, and I didn't start like actually putting time and effort into DJing until about 2018. Um, I always was like the observer, like, I want to do that. And then my friend gifted me a controller, and I started from there, and I have not stopped or looked back since.
That's incredible. So it sounds like you've got a lot of musical influences. How are we going to see that and hear that in the mix that everyone's enjoying right now?
Yeah, I think I have always been boxed into house music, and this I'm gonna go a little bit darker with a little bit more of that Detroit techno, a
Yes.
lot of underground resistance, Drexia. I just want to bring out my other side so people can see how eclectic my choice of genres are. That's definitely gonna be the shining highlight is that oh yeah, THEYTEE does techno too, not just house music.
Awesome. And what's next for you? I know you want to start producing, but what's next? Where can people find you after this? Right? Like, what are the next big
Right.
things? What are the next big goals?
Big goals for me are just to continue forming community with other DJs, other producers. I've always dabbled in producing, but haven't really focused on it yet. So that's my goal this year, is to actually focus on it and put out some tracks. Um, have some, I've been collecting some, like a MIDI controller and like a little things here and there so I can actually start. But yeah, I'm excited. That's my next goal, is to produce. As far as events or shows, I am open for booking.
Tell
I
the
don't
folks how to
have,
find you so that they can book you.
yes, my IG, THEYTEE underscore, or my SoundCloud. Please reach out. I'm open to all bookings. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now.
I've got no doubt that after folks hear this mix, that you will be getting requests by the droves.
Yes.
And I can't wait to witness
Thank you
that
so
for you.
much.
My last question, I like to ask it of everyone, especially the more interesting they are, which you are in various ways. You're sitting down with little baby THEYTEE, who maybe doesn't know what lies ahead for them. What do you say?
Oh, you're going to make me get emotional now.
That's the
um,
idea, girl. It works every
keep
time,
going.
too.
I'm like, to keep going, even on your hardest days, the days that you don't want to keep going, the days that you want to throw in the towel. I'm a big advocate for mental health, as someone that has suffered through a lot of mental health crises. So to keep going, that, as you said, your bumps on your face are an ancestral blessing, and no matter being made fun of, turn that around and use it to fuel your life and what you want to do. So to not give up and to keep going.
Wise words to part ways on. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much for all the work that you do for the community. Thank you so much for remaining steadfast in your power and sharing that with the rest of us. Femme House fam, this has been the indubitable THEYTEE. Run it up every platform you can. Book every chance you get, and stay tuned for more from this wonderful human being. Thanks, Femme House fam.
Thank you
Talk to y'all
so
later.
much.